Hey all, welcome to Let's Discuss Video Games, and just like the name suggests, we discuss all things video games. We'll discuss news, opinions on video games, and definitely review a lot of games that we play. We plan to cover AAA games all the way down to minute indie games, some that you may have never heard of. So if you like what you see, if you enjoy the videos, we hope that you'll stick around, and we'll definitely push out more videos on all sorts of topics. Now let's press start on this video. So first off, my name's Aaron, and today I'm going to give you my opinions on owning the Switch Lite for a little over a month, what I do like, what I don't like, and some important stuff that I think you guys should know. So before I go into what I like about the system, I think it's important for you to know that I am already an owner of the original Switch. I had it from launch. I've put hundreds of hours into handheld and docked mode. So I'm fully invested into the Switch ecosystem, and because of that, the bar was set really high for me personally on the Switch Lite, and I had big expectations of it. But I really love this thing. And first, of course, it's very small. Smaller than the original, and it's supposed to be. But I've really come to love the size and the overall weight of the Switch Lite. For comparison, here's the two together. I'm sure my hands being on the screen is probably irking a few of you, but you can see, I mean, it's not too much of a difference here, but this is definitely smaller, and there is some weight difference. I mean, the original Switch was never super heavy, but this one's got even lighter, and I love that. So because the Switch Lite is actually lighter, it feels a lot more comfortable in the hands, because if you plan on playing for longer game sessions, your hands and wrist are less likely to cramp up, and it just allows for longer game sessions. Also with the Switch Lite, the plastic compared to the OG Switch is a lot more grippy, and that's a good thing, because the Switch Lite was kind of marketed to being a take on the go, travel Switch, and because there is grip, you're less likely to drop it, or if you have children, they're less likely to drop it. The screen looks great in my opinion, and yes, it's smaller than the OG Switch, but they were still able to cram in the 1280 by 720 resolution into that smaller frame. And because of that, the images look sharper. When you condense those pixels into a tighter space, it just gives you a better looking image, and I personally have noticed it, and maybe not everyone will. However, of course, just like the original Switch, not all games look great in handheld mode, and so you will notice that sometimes when you're playing on the Switch Lite, but I really wouldn't contribute that to the Switch Lite or the original Switch. A lot of times the games are just poorly optimized by the developers, and so they just don't turn out looking as great. Control wise, obviously the biggest inclusion was the D-pad, and it feels good. I like it. It's not my favorite D-pad in the world, and I would say if you're a gamer who loves fighting games, I probably go ahead and get an external controller, maybe like a Pro controller or a third party from like PowerA, who's probably going to offer you a better D-pad, because this D-pad will get the job done. It's just not the top of the line. I would have to say, if you were comparing the buttons to how they feel, it's definitely on the squishier side, kind of like what the 3DS would give you in a handheld. But most importantly, let's not forget that you can play any Switch game on the Switch Lite. You're not compromising there. So pretty much any game that you already have already, if you're a physical collector, you can put in and you can play it. There is a few games where that doesn't apply so easily. You have to have like an external controller or a Joy-Con, but you can still technically play the game. Alright, so coming up for what I don't really like about the Switch Lite is a little difficult. I could say that I I dislike that it doesn't dock or doesn't have some way to port its display onto a television. But if you bought the Switch Lite hoping for it to do that, then you obviously didn't do any research and just didn't check before you bought it, because Nintendo put out enough information way before launch to tell you that this is not what this Switch was going to do. It's handheld, and that's where they were marketing it, so you really can't be upset in that fashion. However, I do wish it was a little easier to share game files, especially digital save files, from Switch to Switch. There's a million videos out there talking about why it doesn't work, the issues, how Nintendo should fix it, and I'm not like very tech savvy in that fashion, so I'm not going to really cover it. But basically, if you want to switch your digital save file from your one Switch to the other on the same save file, you can definitely transfer it over, but you're going to have to always make sure that one of them is online so it can check and make sure the other person's not online, and it's just a lot of things to jump through. But if you've ever owned like 2 Xbox Ones or 2 PlayStation 4s, then you've already run into these situations before, and it's probably not going to be anything new for you. What I will say, if you're a physical collector like I am, you don't have to jump through as much hoops. As long as you make sure that your save files in the cloud are up to date on both consoles, you're going to be okay. You just put the physical cartridge in the Switch you want to go. It's going to already have your save file loaded up, and you're good to go. And what that leads to is, and I've done this with my brother, is that you can be playing on 2 Switches at the same time on the same account, playing different games with different game cartridges and Switches, and you're good to go. We've played Smash Bros. And Ukulele at the same time and didn't run into any issues. So there is, I wouldn't say it's a workaround, but there is some ways to do what you want to do if you're trying to have the same account on 2 Switches and play different games. Alright, so let's wrap this video up. If I had to recommend anything for you guys to get if you buy the Switch Lite, I would definitely say get a screen protector and get some sort of like case, outer shell for the Switch Lite. I think it just gives the owner peace of mind, because if you're like me, you're going to be traveling with the Switch Lite a lot. That's kind of why you buy it in some cases, and so just having that stuff on there, it just makes you feel better about doing that. I really like my Switch Lite, and if you're in the market for a Switch and prefer handheld gaming, then get the Lite. If you're in the market for a Switch because you have a lot of fighting in your family about who gets to play the Switch and when, get the Switch Lite. It's great. For $200, you're getting a great deal on a system that can play an amazing library of games with very limited limitations. It feels great in the hand, it handles well, and it's the Wii U that the Wii U should have always been. I 100% recommend the Switch Lite, and I hope this video convinced you guys to maybe look into buying it, and if you're on the fence, maybe you'll now officially go out and buy it. Again, I'm Aaron, and thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for future videos, and game over.